When I was younger, there was a worship song that I would often sing, and it's by somebody you may be even familiar with. His name was Clint Brown, or his name is Clint Brown. And he had a song called Waiting on You. And the chorus of the song said, I am waiting on you, patiently waiting on you. I'm not worried about the time because, Lord, I seem to find strength while I'm waiting on you. Now, it was a song that was easily sung in worship, and it showed the condition of, I felt my heart as I waited there for God to show up. We were all waiting on God to come and move in our midst. And so we sang, God, we are waiting on you. We would sing that no matter what was going on, no matter the time of day, no matter the order of service, our desires and our intentions were to wait upon the Lord. Not until this past summer did I begin to understand the weight of such words, waiting on God. Sure, I could understand waiting on the Lord in the context of a worship service, as God, we're waiting on you to come and move. But to wait upon God when it came to prayers being answered. To wait upon God in the midst of trials. To wait upon God in the midst of issues that were at hand. To wait upon God when decisions need to be made. To wait upon God when difficulties needed to be addressed. Waiting upon God wasn't, and often still isn't, something that I want to do. And I have a feeling that many of us do not enjoy waiting. We don't enjoy waiting for much of anything. On the website called 11points.com, they have a list of things that we hate waiting for. And they've got a summary of how long people are willing to wait until they begin to freak out. So I'm going to go through this list, these 11 different things, and see kind of where you fit in that. The first one is a car in front of you at a green light. That is, it has a red light and then it goes to a green light. How long are you going to allow the car in front of you to sit there before you honk the horn or say anything for them to move? Well, an average is 50 seconds. Now, and that may be dependent upon where you're from. You may live in a part of the country where you honk before the light turns green, right? And there's some of those people. Here in the South, I've seen multiple people. I've done it before. The light goes from red to green, and we just sit and wait and hope that they see, and they didn't, so we'll just wait to the next one. But this time we're going to say something. We're going to honk the horn if you don't move this time. Number 2, people to stop talking in a movie. Do not talk in a movie, okay? If you're going to watch a movie, watch the movie. Stop talking. But on average, people will wait 1 minute and 52 seconds before they begin freaking out or are frustrated. I'm frustrated immediately. Stop talking. Number 3, parents to quiet down a loud baby. Now, this one's not that big of a deal. On average, they've said 2 minutes and 41 seconds, and maybe that's in a restaurant. I don't know. I don't care. If you have a baby in a restaurant that's crying, that's no big deal. And I tell parents that too. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about them. Just eat, enjoy it, because I know it's hard, right? I had crying babies. But when it comes to church service, I'm like 1 second. You okay? A baby crying. Mentally, I'm like, whoo. I can't remember. So I guess it's different situations. Number 4, late coworkers. So on average, it's okay, they say, for 3 minutes and 54 seconds. So roughly 4 minutes you can be late to work and nobody's going to freak out about it. It's not a good philosophy to go by. I think you should be at work on time. Number 5, waiting at the doctor's office. On average, people are willing to wait 32 minutes. That seems far too long. Number 6, waiting at the airport security, 28 minutes. That's impressive. You can go through airport security quicker than the doctor's office. Number 7, waiting for your significant other to get ready. Just get ready, okay? Get ready. Just get up, get going. Why are we waiting on people, right? We all go in the same place. We all can tell time. But on average, people wait 21 minutes. That seems like too long. Too long. Let's go. Get ready. Number 8, waiting in line at Starbucks, 7 minutes. That's a long time, 7 minutes. Number 9, a late blind date, 26 minutes. 26 minutes on average, people are willing to wait. That's a long time. And this is an average. Okay? So I'm sure some people will be like 5 minutes. I'm willing to wait 5 minutes on blind date. Some people are like, I'm willing to wait 3 days. Yeah, I'm needing a date. I don't know, but they got the average of 26 minutes. Number 10, someone loudly talking on a cell phone to quiet down. Yeah, don't be doing that. We don't want to hear your conversation, right? On average, people will wait 2 minutes and 25 seconds. I don't know what they do. They're like, shh, you're too loud. I don't know what they do, but they're 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Number 11, someone late to an interview. What's acceptable, I guess, on average is 2 minutes and 6 seconds. That's not okay. That's not good. All right? Somebody said longer than that. If it's a job interview, you get there early. Early. So maybe it's 2 minutes and 6 seconds early. Okay? So there's some life lessons for you. But I'm sure many of you have this kind of like number in your mind that you're comfortable with when it comes to how long you're willing to wait at a restaurant before you're seated, right? Or just going through and being able to get your food. And it probably depends on the restaurant. For example, when it comes to like McDonald's, I'm not really waiting 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that might be my max, okay? It really depends on how hungry I am. So I guess there's some different factors. But 5 to 10 minutes, I'm not willing to wait more than that at McDonald's. But if it's like a fancy restaurant, a nice place, I might go 45 minutes, An hour, that's just too long. 45 minutes, that might be working. That might work out right. But you may be different. You may be like, I'm willing to wait 30 minutes at McDonald's. Yeah, and when it comes to a fancy restaurant, I'll do 2 hours. I don't know, but we're all different. We all have this idea of what's acceptable to us. Wait time is often determined by the perceived value, right? Like, it depends on what you're getting on the other end and how long you're willing to wait. Well, that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about waiting and waiting upon the Lord. And if there's one thing that I hope you can remember, it's the main takeaway, which is waiting upon the Lord is rewarding. Now, as I stated earlier, I remember singing songs of waiting on the Lord, and there's still some really great songs out today about waiting on the Lord. And I understood the reward, the value of waiting on God in the context of worship in church. I understood the benefit of seeking God, of pursuing Him, of lingering a little longer in worship and in prayer. I knew the benefit in order to see Him move and for Him to minister, to wait upon the Lord. But I hadn't yet understood, and I'm still learning, the same reward of waiting on God within our everyday life, and the everyday complications and the matters of life. That is, when I desired for God to move in a situation, when I was struggling for provision, when I was desperate for intervention, maybe it's even the same for you. When you're waiting for God to move in a situation, when you're struggling for His provision, when you're desperate for intervention, waiting upon God seems like the last option, does it not? We don't want to wait on God. Honestly, it seems like the worst option. It seems like the lazy choice. If you've ever been in a desperate situation, when it appears that you are in the valley of despair, often our first thought isn't to wait. But really our first thought is fight or flight, to run away or to fight against the problem. But today what I want to tell you, the main takeaway, what I hope you can remember today, is waiting upon the Lord is rewarding. Now, I know that statement seems like the most backwards thing to say, because we are a people who seem to jump from one hopeless situation to the next. We are a people who move from one moment of calling out to God to come and change a situation to the next. We go from one prayer request to another. One plea to God to come and move miraculously in the here and now to another. And I'm not saying that God cannot or will not break into moments of time and completely change a situation. God has done it, and He's still doing it. But this morning, I want you to realize that sometimes God moves to completely change our situations, not just instantly, but sometimes God moves over an extended amount of time. So let me remind you the main takeaway. Waiting upon the Lord is rewarding. Now, like I said, I know these words are not easy to say. I know that these words are not words that we want to live by. They are not words that we want to agree with, because we often view waiting as suffering, do we not? I mean, to wait is to suffer. And no one wants to suffer through waiting while you are suffering in depression, or suffering in trials and situations, or suffering in the midst of sickness, in the midst of hurt. No one wants to suffer through waiting while you are suffering in the midst of worry and confusion, in loneliness and despair, suffering in provisions and suffering in purpose, suffering in a dream long past, suffering in a destiny destroyed. To wait can feel like wasting time. To wait can feel like withering away or willfully giving up. And so typically no one wants to wait. I don't want to wait. But God tells His people, and God tells you and me, that to wait upon the Lord is rewarding. To wait upon Him, to wait upon His renewal, it is the right thing to do. Now, if you have your Bible with you today, go ahead and turn to Isaiah chapter 40, and I want to look at verse 31. Now, I just want to look at the first sentence there, Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. And it says this, "But those who hope in the Lord, they will renew their strength." Now, this verse in other translations, and the translation that you may be most familiar with says, "But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." Well, these two words are really the same words. These two words of hoping and waiting mean the same thing. That is, while you do not see anything changing, while you are in the depths of despair, or maybe the mountains are before you, the impossible, while you are weary of the future or discouraged by the disappointment, when you are needing God to move and there is no sign that He will, to hope and to wait upon God means that your faith in God isn't diminished, or your trust that He will move is disregarded. But instead, all of your hope is strongly rooted in God. That you are confident that no matter what, God will work all things together for the good of those who love Him. And therefore, no matter the urgency, no matter the need, no matter the difficulty, because our hope is in God, we will be faithful and we will wait upon Him to act. You know, there's times that I will often walk ahead of my children. For example, I like to walk fast, and I may walk a little faster to get ahead and kind of lead the way, right? Lead the way, to set the tempo, really. I'm setting the tempo, that the speed that they need to walk, they need to hurry up. Let's get to where we're trying to go. Sometimes because I'm walking faster, I'll go ahead and I'll prepare the way by opening the door. And I do this when we, go to a store or go to a restaurant. And if I get ahead of them, no matter what, I still have to wait on them to come and to be where I am. And so I will wait for them to come and join me and to sit down and we will eat together. Now, for many of us, we try to get ahead of God. We try to go ahead and get to where we want to be. Do we not? When something's going on, we try to go ahead and figure it out. We try to set the pace in which God should work. We try to make a decision before a decision can be made. And we try to bring resolve before there can be a resolution. We try to get ahead of God, and no matter how much we figure out, we still have to wait upon God to do the work that needs to be done. And so we must wait. And when we wait, we find a reward. But I found a better option. When it comes to going to a restaurant with my family or going to a store, instead of running ahead and waiting, I have found that if I slow down, if I walk slower, if I walk with them, if I wait with them, while it may take longer to get to the destination, and really it won't because I get there faster, I'm still waiting for them to get to me. I have found that if I wait and walk with them, that my wife or my children will hold my hand as we walk to the store or to the restaurant. And I can savor those moments. Not just the anticipation of getting to the destination, but in the slow walk to get to the place in which we are hoping to get to anyways. You see, often as Christians, we try to get ahead of God. We try to run ahead and call God to come and to meet us where we are. We try to work out the plans and work out the arrangements. We try to make the decisions or the outcomes. And yes, this is a form of waiting on God to do what we want Him to do. But I wonder if the waiting that God desires is for us to slow down in our drive to get where we want to be to slow down and walk with Him, waiting and anticipating the destination. I wonder if we miss out on godly conversations. I wonder if we miss out on His presence and His perspective. When we try to hurry ahead of God, who we're going to be waiting on anyways. I heard it once said that for all of Jesus' ministry, He walked at a pace of 3 miles an hour. Jesus didn't run around. He wasn't frantic. He didn't drive a Lamborghini getting place to place quickly, but He walked at a pace of 3 miles an hour. You know, honestly, I don't think Jesus walks any faster than that today. I often feel like God still works in our lives at the same pace of 3 miles an hour. Let me remind you of the main takeaway. Waiting upon the Lord is rewarding. Let's keep reading in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Now, these are God's words. They're not mine. And this is what God says. He says, those who wait and those who place their hope in Him, they will soar on wings like eagles. That is, they will fly with ease over every situation. They will be given a new perspective and a new vision. They will see past the immediate and be able to see the beyond. God says they will run and not grow weary. That is, they will not run out of fear or in order to escape, but they will run with joy and not grow weary. They will have energy overflowing and it will not be able to be contained. God says they will walk. That is, when everyone else is running, when fear causes many to run and to hide, when an immediate action seems to be necessary, God says they will walk and not grow faint. They will not lose heart. Let me remind you of the main takeaway. This is what God is saying. Waiting upon Him, waiting upon the Lord is rewarding. You see, every time the enemy comes before you and tells you, you can't, it won't happen, there's no hope, this can't be changed, this can't be saved, you are never getting out of this, you will never overcome this. When the enemy tells you you are finished, you are done, when the enemy tells you that everything is dependent upon you, and if you mess up this thing, everything will fall apart, I want you to remind the devil of God's resume. I want you to remind the devil of who God is and how powerful He is. And that's found in Isaiah chapter 40, the same chapter we're looking at, verse 21 through 31. This is what it says. Do you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood since the earth was founded? He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a tent to live in. He brings princes to naught and reduces the rulers of this world to nothing. No sooner are they planted, no sooner are they sown, no sooner do they take root in the ground, then He blows on them and they wither, and the whirlwind sweeps them away like chaff. To whom will you compare me? Or who is my equal? Says the Holy One. Lift up your eyes and look to the heavens, who created all these. He who brings out the starry host one by one and calls forth each one of them by name. Because of His great power and mighty strength, not one of them is missing. Why do you complain, Jacob? Why do you say, Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord, my cause is disregarded by my God? Don't we often say the same thing? My way is hidden from the Lord, my cause is not seen by God. Verse 28. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and His understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall, but those whose hope is in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. You see, often it is easy to worry because worry is to assume responsibility. When we worry, we are saying that we must do something. We must change something. We must make something happen. And if we do not, then the outcome will be great. It will all be dependent upon us. But waiting is to assign responsibility to God. Waiting is to say, God, we are hopeful and we are looking to you. We are looking for you to do something, for you to change something, for you to make something happen. And if you do not, then God, we will continue to wait. Waiting is saying I am incapable and unable to do it on my own. And so God, I'm going to wait upon you. Waiting is saying I will take a step every time, God, you tell me to take a step. Waiting is saying I will say something, God, when you tell me to say something. And I will do something when you tell me to do something. I will go where you tell me to go, and I will do what you tell me to do. But until then, God, I'm going to wait upon you. You know, I have come to the conclusion that I am a hopeless case. I have come to realize that I am extremely prone to making terrible decisions. No matter how right the decision may be at the time, well, I think I got it all figured out. After waiting on the Lord, He provides a better way and a better response, a better outcome. So it's always best to wait and to wait upon the Lord. And I know that waiting seems to invite more suffering upon your life. It seems to prolong the problems or to delay the desire. But God tells us that to wait upon Him, to put our hope in Him, we will be rewarded by Him. Going back to another song that I remember growing up, the chorus is, "For I know that if He can paint a sunset and put the stars in place, I know if He can raise up mountains and calm the storm-tossed waves, and if He can conquer death forever to open heaven's gates, then I know for you that He'll find a way." But let me just tell you, there's an alteration that needs to be made to this course. God isn't working to find a way. He is the way, the truth, and the life. Therefore, we must look to Him. We must wait upon Him. We must place our hope in Him, because it is only through and by Him that anything can come about worth having, worth doing. And so I want to pray with you today. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know if you're in the valley of despair or on the mountaintop saying, God, where do I go from here? But I don't know, maybe you're in a season of feeling like you need to do something now. But I want to encourage you to wait upon the Lord. He does seem slow, does He not? He seems like He's the slowest individual ever. He walks at a pace of 3 miles per hour. And you're like, come on, Jesus, let's go a little bit quicker. But He wants us to wait. And I believe that true worship is found in our waiting on Him and trusting in Him. Sure, we can sing songs, we can lift up our hands, we can bow, but true worship is proven in our waiting and hoping in Him to do something. When it seems impossible, waiting upon Him to move. I want to pray with you today. God, we thank You for Your goodness. And God, this idea of waiting on You to do something, it seems like it takes all of the control out of our hands. It does. And You know it does. And that's the problem that we have a hard time with, God. Giving up this assumed control over our own lives. But God, You are the God of the heavens and the earth. And You know far better than we do and what we think is right and what we think we should do. And so God, I pray that You'd help us to be a people who wait upon You, who put our hope in You, who put our trust in You, who look to You, who depend upon You and say, God, we cannot do do this without you. God, if I just make one step, God, I'm prone to step in the wrong direction. And so, God, every literal step that I take, I'm asking that you would lead, but God, that you would guide. God, every word that comes out of our mouths, God, that you would help us to know what to say. God, that it wouldn't be upon our own strength and our own ability, but we're waiting, we're trusting, we're depending, we're leaning upon you because we need you, God. We are in need of you. And so, God, I pray that you'd help us to be a people who wait on you. And when we do that, waiting seems like suffering, but God, you say there's a reward. So help us to be a people who wait upon you, who look to you, who depend upon you. God, I love you so very much. I thank you for your word. I thank you for this time. I pray that you'll be with every person who watches this message today. God, help us to be a people who learn to wait, to see you move in our hearts and in our lives. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen. I'm so very grateful that you have taken the time to wait through this sermon. I pray that as you've waited on God to speak, he has done just that. Thank you for being with us. I want to ask that you be with us every Sunday at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Here Eastern Time. Also, I want to encourage you to share this sermon with your friends and your family, those that you know may be going through a difficult time. And go ahead and just tell them, listen, this is a great message about waiting and learning to get through those things, not on your own strength, but by God's strength alone. May God bless you. May you have a wonderful week.